Oh, it's been a long time, but I'm back. Oh, that trip killed me, but it's not raining at least. I'm back. The days are getting shorter, so this is one of the nicer sunsets. And it looks like a lot has changed. I can't wait to go out the garden and see what's new, but right now Rigodas has a deck full of kilograms and kilograms of these stone mushrooms, which I'm going to cook before it's too dark to see. So here's what's new. I've got some more fruit, zucchinis. The corn is growing bigger. Bees. I'm not getting that many pumpkins. Last year, I think when I tore up the greenhouse area, all of the plants released their nitrogen early on, and so they're not growing as abundantly as they did last year. Inside the greenhouse, I've got some pretty big broccoli. Ooh, this is good to go. Ginkgos and chestnuts still surviving. And I imagine I've got some worms, though nothing's dead yet, except for these beets don't look good. From the compost, I'm getting my first big squash. Here, everything has gotten denser. The garlic is starting to sprout. The rocket is flowering. Got tomato that's dying on the vine. I missed this. Oops. What to do? And all of this can come out. These are all seeds, carrot seeds. Collard greens, wow. And finally, the Brussels sprouts are starting to form. They're little balls. On the work site, and I'm feeling really behind with all this progress. And as for the beans, they're finally starting to produce. There's lots of them here. Morning, and made a cool discovery in the greenhouse. I've got Winecaps growing. I already harvested some of them, so they grow pretty well here in the greenhouse. My place is swarming with mushrooms already. There's one kind here. There's some edible ones here. Some here. This here. More edible ones here. And here. They're all over the place. This is great. Here, these first year asparagus are getting fluffy. These should do great here next year. And the older ones are giving new asparagus sprouts. And I should be getting lots of tomatillos. Oh, this one just came off. Here's an update on the fennel. Oh, it's starting to form. I'm back with sunny, dry weather and with more linseed oil. I'm going to finish painting this and another post. So here's what an excess of rain did to my garden. It made it grow. Oh, wow. These beets are growing big. The amaranthus is looking gorgeous. Oh, the carrots are growing fantastically. Oh, this is amazing. Here are the swades. So I'm making more work for myself. I just cut these off from both these logs, so I'm gonna have to reburn these edges. But I feel better if this flat end lays flat instead of laying the foundation on something like this. So now to go start another fire. So here, starting my other mini fire, burning this end. Almost there. So here, burnt these ends to a crisp. Now I gotta re-oil it. But I feel better about this now. So many mushrooms! I'm making an experiment now. I've got these plums, which I picked next to the side of the road. So I don't really want to eat them, but I want to see if I throw some in, maybe some will grow. Let's do a few spots here. Here's an update on the manures and the acacias I planted. So the acacias aren't doing so well here. This basil is still alive, but not growing much. And here, not much is growing either. Here, they're going pretty fine. The acacia is still alive. So is the basil. These guys are slow. Maybe they'll take off eventually. Here they're a bit bigger. This tiny acacia is still alive. Ooh, some apples fell. My first apples! Oh, nice. So it definitely tastes like wild apples. Very bitter. So, yeah, I'm going to graft this whole tree. Godas gave me 10 specialty potatoes. And since I'm leaving to Vilnius today, I don't know where else to plant them. So they're going here. They grew surprisingly well. They've given some monsters. And I'm going to leave some of these further in the ground. Maybe next year they'll grow again. Now that it's mushroom season, I've got mushrooms in everything I eat. I've got all this food, I gotta figure out what to do with it. And I still have more to harvest. There's so much mushroom growing everywhere that you can even see the mycelium. There might be mold or something forming on the ground. On the construction site, I have these holes, which I don't know how well they're impregnated, so I want to try to fill them, plug the gaps. So I'm gonna see if I have a hole drill that fits. Made a little fire and I toasted this guy. Now I'm gonna go clean it up and see if he fits. This seems to fit. Get him in as deep as I can. Cool, now I can paint that over. Ooh. So because I know that I'm going to be using the ends of these, I'm looking for not too thick of slices, so I can do this. So there, one, and then one more. I feel like I'm cooking these little cubes in here in a little pot. Instead of in here, I'm trying to get them burnt as I would be cooking food. So I plugged all the remaining holes and it just started to rain. Time to get all this under cover. So work on the house is continuing and I'm learning new techniques. Right now I just created this, well, it's called a wind brace. I learned that you can just cut these edges out and fit these. Otherwise, I've got tons of peas. There's mushrooms growing everywhere. And, oh, I've got tons of my food here. This is basically everything from the garden. So, it's fly Garrick season. And with Rigodas, we got a dehydrator yesterday. So, we're going to be harvesting it this season. Now to jump to what we got done today. Rigodas helps me with the rocks. Started filling in more of the foundation. So we got a good chunk already. It's getting up. And I finished impregnating the logs with linseed oil. I just want to fill in these holes to add some extra support. I'm a little bit nervous about this one post. I don't know if it's enough width here. So this last half hour, I've been cutting these logs. Got these meter-long pieces, and I flattened them, and I'm gonna put this together into a portable log holder. As I saw in a YouTube video, it looked really handy, and it would make my life a lot easier. I already prepared the pieces. I made tenons out of these two sides, and now to get them in. Let's see. Still gonna, you gotta hammer them in afterwards. So there, I made the first one. And in truth, I made it really crappily because I drilled the mortises at a wrong angle. I drilled them at a 90-degree angle when I should have drilled them at the angle that these were going into here. But I put in 2 screws at the top, and I think it's sturdy enough. Well, it's another morning. I'm blessed with really good weather. I'm going to try to make the most of this, find more big rocks. I really want to fill up the rest of this front. So I finally have a layer of rocks around the entire perimeter. And now I can start emptying this directly here. Should go by a lot faster now since I won't have any poles in the front here. So this can get filled up right away. So after an hour, this hill is slowly disappearing into here. Oh, progress feels good. So many mushrooms growing, even just here beside the kitchen. And they're not even full of worms. That I'm eating them in every meal now. So I'm thinking I need to invest in a better GoPro stick when it's not broken, so that I can monitor my activities, because I just came from the woods right now. I'm cutting more pieces, looking for more logs to build the workbenches. And so now I'm just came back from the forest with another piece. So yesterday I built one side, one A-frame, which I already put to use. Now I want to do the same with this. Here's the first one, and here's the second one I'm making out of available pieces. And I'm learning from last time's mistake. Instead of drilling at 90 degrees, is to prepare the angle ahead of time. Now I just got to open this up a little wider. There, and now you should fit. So I realized if I had some wooden plugs, I'd be able to drill a hole through the side and have it hold without screws, but I only have screws. So I'm gonna use what carpentry tools I have and try to put this thing together as fast as possible. So I'll have something to improve upon in the future if I can figure out how to do this without screws. Whew, this took many hours to do. Now to make one more of them. Oh crap. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do the top part, but for the time being, it stands. Okay, I'm back to this project again. I got a little sleep last night, but I need to chug away at this little by little. I started digging up this side and I found a ton of huge rocks, and I got a lot more done here. So I took a break to go to the closest town to the cafe for coffee and sugar. And now I'm back to this project. So I removed the top part, which was fastened like this, because I can't pull it up. So I realized I need to stick this in between both of these here, and then screw it in sideways, and then I'll be able to lift it up. So using only the chisel, the hammer, and a little bit of this saw, I managed to flatten out these edges. So here's the first one, the second one, it's a bit smaller, and the third one, and then the fourth one. I'm getting cleaner at this. I'm learning how to use this a lot better, and it's a lot more fun than sawing away. So I got one side fastened well, although the other side is crooked. So I'm gonna try to fix this, flatten these two, and I just pre-drilled some holes so I can get some screws in deeper. Now to fasten this up. Alright, I just fastened the last piece, so I assume I should be able to lift this up without it breaking this time. Nice. It's not the sturdiest, but I imagine it should hold logs. I should probably stabilize it now that I think about it. So voila, it took me 3 days to build this, and I have to make one more. I imagine it'll be faster, and I hope it'll be sturdier than this. And yeah, it could be done better. So now I gotta go find more logs. I'm gonna cut part of a tree down. This tree is partially shading my garden, and I'm gonna use the middle part of it. So I just spent this last half hour unraveling this ratchet pad until I finally learned how to use it the correct way. And I'm gonna try to pull as much of this tree down as possible. It's a good way to learn how to use this tool and safely get this down easier. So I sawed like half of this down and I got this rope pretty taut. I'm gonna see if I can bring it down with this. So I got this tight and this already lifted up. It should be pretty easy to finish. Oh, I'm tired. It's bending. Maybe I can tighten it from here. It's so close. It won't budge. Yeah, I'm trying this out. I think this will do it. Almost. Try 3. There she goes. Ah. Almost. Okay, it's off at least. So I'm using the ratchet pad now. Try to pull it from the bottom. Using the other side. There she's going. Voila. So the weather's not so lovely today, but it's still not bad for working just yet. So for this first sawhorse, it was a little wobbly. I added this piece here and it's a lot more stable now. I may need to add a second one, I don't know. But I'm starting to build a second sawhorse. And I'm going to try to be more exact. I'm going to use this angle cutter and use the pencil. I'm preparing the pieces from the end of this. So I've got these 2 top pieces ready to make the top and the middle. And now I'm preparing this. Instead of doing a circular tenon, I'm going to try connecting with these so that I see if I can do it without needing this stabilizer and to see if it'll hold. So here I made a second tenon. I tried to line it up, though this one's a bit thinner, though without any power tools at least. Now to build the sides. It's starting to drizzle a little, and here I'm cutting out the first rectangular tenon mortise piece. So this is a nice tight fit. It just needs to be deeper. However, I want to get this other side drilled in too before it starts to rain harder, because I can just do this with the hand tools, whereas I need to pre-drill these holes here. Too much weight and my tenon just broke off. This is a learning process. So I just made another one real fast. See if it fits now. For the second one, I'm reverting back to circular tenons. I'm making them a little bit thicker this time to see if I can get a snugger fit. Okay, that worked really well with the thicker tenons. This one took a lot less time. Now to connect them. Same sort of way. Voila, I have 2 portable sawhorses. This second one was quicker and it's sturdier. It seems to hold better without needing this. Now with my second built sawhorse, I can get around to cleaning this up and tenoning its end. So I noticed as soon as I cut these off, this log is really wet and it should take at least a few days for it to dry off before I use it for building. On YouTube, I saw this nifty trick to hold down the log using 2 ratchet pads. So ideally I can get one more, but for the time being, otherwise this was starting to roll over and I had no other way of stabilizing it. Now I can get back to doing this, but with 2 hands. So this sawhorse was holding up well until this rolled off and it gave it a big push. So I'm gonna tighten it, same as that one. Okay, now you are super stable. There, I've got one ready to dry, and then once it dries, I can work with it. Back on my construction site, another day. I decided not to go to Vilnius yesterday when I had the ride. I'm gonna make another sawhorse, because it seems I need 2 more. Here, I finished my 3rd sawhorse. It's a little crooked, because I connected this top part, and then I connected this bottom part, and I made this bottom part a little too short. It's good to keep in mind. I could still fix it. I would need to remove this and just edge this closer. I'm happier with the tenons. They're nice and tight. And I'm still trying to figure out how to cut the best angles. These could still be improved a bit, though it's an improvement on the first 2. So it's the 7th day. I'm back to work because I'm going to Vilnius probably tomorrow, so I need to wrap this up. The quickest process of getting this done, it's best with 2 people. Like when Rigo does help me yesterday, it went by really fast. Basically, it's uncovering the rocks because all the big rocks are underneath. And then the further I bring the rocks out, it sifts a lot of this dirt and it leaves it here. From here, it goes into the wheelbarrows and then into the hole. Here, as well as on the other side of the pile, I'm saving these flatter rocks, which I could use for the above ground foundation. I'm going to try out a little improvement, see if this helps at all, so that I can make this back up here so I can back the wheelbarrow and be able to rake directly into it. Maybe it'll be handy. These stakes in deep. Now let's see what happens. Alright, the idea is either I get a wheelbarrow and rake it directly on it here, or I use the sieve and do something useful with this. I don't know just yet.